Hello. I'm just going to preface this by saying it's my 13th gig tonight, and while I'm not superstitious, if this goes tits up, that's my get out jail free card. Anyway, a bit about me. I'm terrified of death, and that's why I find the concept of YOLO to be troubling. For those of you who don't know YOLO, well, where have you been for the past 5 years? I know I'm 5 years too late for this routine, but come on. It means you only live once, and it seems to be a justification for idiots to do stupid and reckless things, such as not wearing a coat outside in the winter, which, as we all know, leads to hypothermia, frostbite, and death. Or at least that's what my parents told me when I was young. I think I might have been Norwegian for all I'm aware. Anyway, I've always thought of YOLO as a more cautionary phrase, simply a reminder of our own limited mortality. For example, in the sentence, Jimmy, wear a coat when you go outside, lad. You only live once. But then I've always thought, what about those people who don't always live once? And yes, I'm talking about the Hindus and the Buddhists here. They believe in reincarnation. The fact that you will be reborn again and again. I mean, you're a human now, you could be an ant. I'm not saying it's an upgrade, but it's definitely something. For this, they should get their own version of YOLO. Fucking hell, it's hot in here. Anyway, they should get their own version of YOLO, as in the phrase, Sanjay, do not worry about wearing a coat today. It doesn't matter if you die, because remember, you only live infinitely. That, of course, is a very bad parent, but is teaching his kid a very religious lesson. Anyway, I understand YOLO, I get it, but it's not for me. The biggest risk I take lately is my new tendency to under-overcook chicken. Instead of burning the soul out of it for 10 minutes longer, I'm a bit more lenient and burn the soul out of it for 5 minutes longer. Just to give it a bit of a break. But no, another thing I don't, that's just a fad nowadays, isn't it, YOLO? It'll die out. And I'm not really into new things. Like, I was recently invited to a traffic lights party. Now, I didn't know what this was, so I went out to the fancy dress store, bought a car costume, wore it on me back, looked like a fucking turtle or a shit transformer. I had to lay down on me front for the wheels to touch the floor, and they didn't even turn. Apparently you had to pay extra for that, because sticking it on with blue tack is cheaper than tax. But apparently that's not what it was. Found that out when I gave it a Google. I found out there was something far, far worse. Essentially, if you don't know, a traffic lights party is where you dress in one of the 3 colours of the traffic light, depending on your interest to have sex with a stranger. You wear red if you're not interested, which begs the question of why you're at a traffic lights party. You wear yellow if you're a bit liberal with the contents of your underwear. And you wear green if having sex with strangers is less of an interest and more of a hobby. Which is certainly something I'd love to see at Hobbycraft. Just at the back of the store, you move aside a red silk curtain. Inside is a super king bed, and chained to it, a woman clad in leather with holes in all the right places. That's enough about my fantasies. Where was I going from here? Traffic light parties aren't for me, though. Like, I'm an epileptic, so I'm not allowed to operate a vehicle. I'm a pedestrian. Traffic lights are only good for me when they're red. And if I'm only good for the people wearing red at a traffic lights party, who I can't pull or who don't seem to have any interest in me whatsoever, I may as well be at any other party. But I decided to go along and give my friend a moral support. Her name's, I don't know, should we say Katie? This isn't real, it doesn't matter. And she comes up to me and says, Chris, I'm thinking of wearing green to a traffic lights party. And instantly the Ray Winston part of my brain just goes, shut it, you slag. But I have to turn that off pretty quick because I don't want to actually say that. She's very dear to me, apparently. Fred, shut up, you're loud.
Don't discourage the laughers, Chris.
And she continues saying, I don't have any underwear that's green. And Ross Kemp, he's trying to come back, but I keep turning him off again. And she says she doesn't know what to do. And I said, honey, don't wear underwear at a traffic lights party because they're going to be on and off like a strobe light. Which is another reason why I can't get with the green people at a traffic lights party. Strobe lights mess with my epilepsy. I think I've missed something out, but that doesn't really matter. Didn't really memorise this, probably should have. Anyway, we go along. I don't wear my car costume, which was ironically green, but I don't think I would have been getting anything in that. Where was I going from here? No, I'm not very good this week. I've had a shit week and it's my 13th gig. Give me a break. Yeah, so I decided to wear black to a traffic lights party, trying to keep in with the theme. I don't want to go with the tripartite colour oppression, of course, but I do want to dress as the frame around the traffic lights. But, of course, you shouldn't do this, because, as the theme suggests, you will wander around the edges of the other people, just not mingling, not interacting. You're just kind of there. You're trying to hold it together. It's not working. Eventually, a man dressed in grey comes up to you, opens you up, rummages around in you for a bit, in his role as an engineer. One thing to take away from this routine is that you shouldn't wear black to a traffic lights parties because you will be raped. My arse has not been that sore since I ended my curry Thursdays, which was a good decision on all accounts. Even my housemates enjoyed that. One moment, I'm trying to remember the segue. I was going to print off pictures of segues in case I forgot the segues. And I think that would have been less awkward than just forgetting them all together. But no, I remember now. Because none of that actually happened, I left the traffic lights party, because that bit happened. I left Katie, or whatever her name was, behind. She was messing with my epilepsy. And I see a girl, she's wearing red, she's walking home a few paces in front of me. Now, she was impervious to all my previous tactics, which was kind of obvious, she was wearing red, but I'm a trier. And I think I'll pull out my final trick, the trick I cannot do inside. I look around, there's no one about. It's dark. I think, aha, this isn't as creepy as you think. This isn't actually a rape joke. But I heard someone say, oh no, which I'm kind of glad with, because that means you're listening. Thank you. But no, I think of my trump card, and that is, my friends, pigeon hypnotism. Now, for those of you who don't know, well, you shouldn't know, it's mine. I started observing pigeons a while ago, and I noticed how male pigeons get their pigeon pussy. Although now I come to think of it, I doubt they call it that. It's probably best not to associate vaginas with a predator of your species. That'd be like me calling vaginas Rolf Harris, which has the double negative of both him being a predator and the fact that we share the same surname. But at least I feel a bit dirty when I do it. That got more last time I said that. That's a bit disappointing. I think I missed something again. Oh well, moving on. Rolf Harris gets on my tits though. When he was all over the news before, they never called him Rolf. They always used to call him the surprisingly common Mr. Harris, which always made me think that my dad's got into some sort of trouble. Like, I knew it wasn't me. I hoped it wasn't me. And I hope it wasn't my mum before the sex change. She didn't have a sex change. That was lies. This whole thing is lies. Moving on. So I noticed that pigeons get their pigeon, let's call it vagina, by hopping after the lady, and then hopping on top and having their way with her. Their wicked way, one might say. I don't know why I said that. Moving on. Where am I going from here? I remember. So I decided to copy that. I'm hopping after. Did I give this girl a name? Her name was Polly when I wrote it down. Let's call her Polly. And, well, she looks around, and she decides to speed up. I don't look around, but I speed up, because presumably she's running away from some weirdo. But I don't want to look around in case there's a maniac with an axe or something. I don't know, I'm wearing black, no one can see me. Well, at least that's what I thought. The police were called. They asked what I was doing. I used my best excuse, the excuse I use for everything, practicing for the 2016 Olympic long jump. They asked, why? I said, well, that's how I imagine Greg Rutherford did it. He won those gold medals by thinking that the sandpit was full of dat ass. I appreciate that this has been rather negative, but I'm going to leave you with a positive message. I do hope you get home safely, no drink driving, stick to safe paths, well-lit areas, because remember, you only live once. Thank you.
Thanks, Harrison.